And PAX Monday, go! Hey, there we go. We're here. We look great. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to ESB, Enchanting Sorcery Productions presents. This is another one of our PAX West official co-streams. And I got ahead of myself. What's up, Dice Dragons, Queer Witches, and Telepathic Andropsychic Unicorns? I'm here with Emmy. Hi, Emmy. Emmy is awesome, and Emmy, you run your own channel, and we'll do a quick, brief introduction to that. But I'm Essie, Eryn Spencer. My pronouns are she, they. I'm not important. Let's go over to you. Who are you? What are your pronouns? And tell us a little bit about your server, your community, your business, real quick. Give us the little 30-second elevator blurb, and you'll be able to go in detail at the end for like 5-10 minutes, as much as you want. But give us the elevator blurb and introduction. dEMonAngeLclone, take it away.
Hi, my name is dEMonAngeLclone, but please feel free to call me Emmy. I am the founder and executive director for a gaming nonprofit called the Athena Alliance, soon to be Athena Alliance CLT, or Athena CLT Plus. We are one of the only gaming organizations that support both women and non-binary members. So check us out. We're really fun. We have a Discord server. We're on all of the socials. On all of the socials, it's at Athena CLT. And we'd love to have you. But Eryn, thank you so much for inviting me to be here today.
Thank you for being here. And I'm going to have a Nightbot command for you at the end of the session as well. So at the end of the session, all of your links will be... We're gonna talk more about that at the end of the session, and it's funny because we were joking how we're gonna be late for the ADHD panel, but we're gonna jump right in. They're still doing introductions. Obviously, you can see they still have their own intro screen, their slate up on the screen. It's Monday. It's weird. It feels like a Sunday, but it's Monday, so I'm all thrown off. But we're gonna jump right in, and our host here, Elizabeth Kilmer, PhD from Take This. We heard a little bit about PAX safety rules, Take This. So we're just going to jump right into that. So thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks for doing your quick introduction. We'll dive a little bit more into that at the end, sort of podcast format, so we can talk more about the Athena Alliance, which is a great place to be because I'm there as well. Love it. Y'all do amazing work. But let's go in and tune in while I do some more sort of promo stuff in the background. Let's tune in and listen to Elizabeth Kilmer, PhD.
To some of the more practical solutions. I
Yeah,
think
she's still doing some
before,
intros.
Like, well, why do you talk about the I didn't fit in well stories, because those make people sad, and they do. But I don't know about y'all, and you
gonna
can
handle the rest of the promo.
Panel, please do. I think it's sometimes important to talk about the times in which like we felt alone and we felt like we didn't fit, because when we are in those spaces, we can feel like we're the only ones. So we're gonna tell just
it's a mood. I have hot takes on that.
Times in which, like,
I definitely have some takes on that from this summer.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk much more about stories around belonging and accessibility.
One of those things that's not really...
Do you want to kick us off?
It's not really discussed, and it's sort of pushed to the side. So for me, who's open about it, who tells people about the accommodations I need, I never get them. It's very rare that I get them. And if I do bring up my learning disabilities, my own disabilities, a lot of times in my experience working with neurotypical folks, someone actually told me, you know, who will remain anonymous, but someone had told me that, and I've heard this multiple times, it's not just one person. Neurodivergence, ADHD, disability is no excuse for bad behavior. Bad behavior being like very subtle social cues, sometimes microaggressions, but I'm the kind of person where I always try to learn. I always try to like adjust to the things that I learn, but a lot of it is, you know, if I say something that might be considered a microaggression, I always try to correct it, but sometimes, especially in this space, people might say, you know, oh, well, we're going to give you all of the backlash and we're just going to berate you and not give you a chance to learn. And if you say, I'm sorry, I have disability, I just need a little bit more direct cueing, direct information, direct instruction, people will just say sometimes, no, that's just bad behavior, you're just a bad person, which is frustrating.
That is because there's always more to one side of things.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just like taking
is okay.
like what
I
they
think.
feel like is the side of things that they know
but
of,
ultimately that was sort of my first
instead of trying to
introduction
like
to
empathize and step into
recognizing
someone
that there
else's
are
shoes.
situations
Mm.
where what you want
And
what someone else
like I was
wants,
told this
can,
like by my
completely
family
kind of
members,
clash
you know,
playstyle-wise.
if I was like expressing anything, they would be like, oh, well, you know what, Emmy, no one cares.
My first
It's like that's not really true, but that's what I was told, and so that's a learned thing that I have to unlearn.
Yeah. That sounds like you've had similar experiences in that regard. That's
I
really
have.
frustrating. That's really
Yeah, it is.
frustrating.
They were trying
It
to
is.
jam a group.
I've heard that one before too.
And
that one
but the
hurts.
thing is, it's like, okay, no one. It's like just say you don't care.
Yeah.
Because it's like no one doesn't care, because like if I talk to other people about it, there are some people that actually care. But if you don't care, that's fine. I'd rather know that up front, and then I know how to proceed forward with the conversation than
Right.
not know.
And a lot of times with ADHD and neurodivergence, it doesn't have to be it fall under the category of microaggression either. It can be something that comes off as just rude, something that comes off as not understanding, and that sometimes people will conflate not understanding what someone is saying because of a disability as being rude, as you're a bad person because you can't listen to the words that I'm saying, you're a bad person because you can't process the words that I'm saying, or I just said that, are you just not listening to me? Why do I have to repeat myself 1 or 2 times or more? And people will take offense to that because neurotypical people in a lot of experiences have felt and told me that they felt like, oh, you're just not listening, and if people who don't listen are bad people. And that's a very American cultural thing, right?
It is.
That
It is.
if we talk about a broader American culture, if it does exist, part of it is like, unfortunately, oh, people who don't listen, if you don't listen to me, you're, you know, whatever, worst case scenario. But somewhere the middle ground for that is someone says, oh, you're just a bad person. And it sucks that that's what the middle ground is. You know what I mean? Like, you're either called something horrible, or the middle ground is, well, you're just a bad person. And I'm grateful for organizations like Take This, or this panel, or this conversation that you and I are having, and you sharing your experiences, because there needs to be more education on this, because it is a disability. And I work with folks who have psychological disabilities full time, and I have since 2018. So I see and hear a lot of these experiences.
Sorcery, I just kind of came to the conclusion that I'm a horrible person anyways. And my life has gotten significantly better since I've come to that conclusion.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes if you embrace it, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because at that point, it's like when I hear it, it's like, oh, well, I was the drama. And it's like, yeah, you were.
well,
And I'm
there.
like, all right.
Hey,
Thanks.
Jeff. That's Jeff on the chat, by the way. Hey, welcome back again, Jeff. But yeah, the idea is, if it's funny because I've had like a similar enlightening experience, right? Where it's, well, I have this disability, this is who I am, and if folks aren't going to meet me even halfway, why am I overexerting myself, putting myself out there, trying to accommodate neurotypicals who have repeatedly shown that they have no patience for disability?
Really quickly, that one of the things
Right.
that I have noticed that has been a challenge for me,
because there's a lot of people out there I've noticed in media that really try, who are in similar situations, and doing your best every day, accepting feedback, accepting criticism, being willing to learn. Sometimes people, and sometimes in those situations, especially if someone is offended by, you know, X, Y, or Z person not listening, they might, you know, go on and smear or drag this person and be like, oh, so-and-so's a bad person, they don't listen, you know, they never listen to what I say, or they can't process, I have to say things 3 times. That's a disability. It's like,
Yeah.
the person is trying to tell you, like, and especially if the person's like, no, I want to learn, I just need some accommodations. They're like, no, you're just a bad person. And they get dismissed, suppression of the rug, and that's really frustrating.
people make the minis look like Sailor
I'm a very audio-visual person, so I have to do things by like building blocks. Like the step 1,
Yeah.
step 2.
Yeah.
I get a whole bunch of like information thrown at me. I'm like, wait a second, I gotta process this.
And so
Yeah.
let's talk
Gotta
a
figure
little
this
bit
out.
about
Yeah.
how you
So for me, it's even worse. I've actually gotten in trouble at work, even telling people, like, before I get hired, that I'm a somatic learner. I say I have dyscalculia. I'm a somatic learner, which means if you tell me something, I won't be able to learn it until I do it. And in an interview, someone says, oh, well, you're going to be doing the work anyway, like a director or someone. But then when you get down to like floor managers, the floor managers they'll be like, I call bullshit. It'll be like, that's not true. That's, you should have said this on your application. I'm like, I did. I said this in the interview. And they're like, I don't believe you, or things like that. These are actual conversations that I've had with floor managers. And they're like, well, you can't work here if you have a disability. And I'm like, I just need you to show me, and then I need to do it. I actually had a manager tell me, no, you should be able, if you can't function as an adult and take verbal instructions, then you shouldn't be working here.
What are the things that y'all have found the most crucial?
Wow.
And this was a queer white woman who told me this.
I mean, my thing is that
especially because I jumped
people can be so thoughtless because there's levels to accommodations that people need.
Yeah.
If someone feels like there's a level to it that they cannot deal with, that should have been up front in the application and the interview process. It's like, okay, you need accommodations. How many accommodations do you need?
Yeah.
How long do you think it would take you to learn this position? That's on them for not asking those questions during that process, not you.
Well, the thing is, she ended up resigning, and the director took over her position because it was the director that interviewed me.
Oh, good.
She also had other problems. Oh my god, I did not know that you were in the Marines, Jeff. That's wild. But this is the same manager, by the way, the one that had told me that thing. The same manager at this day job workplace that had also screamed at one of my coworkers, if you can't follow simple instructions, then you need to quit and go work at McDonald's. She screamed that in front of patients who are in mental health treatment in the office.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you can't, first of all, that's diminishing people that work at McDonald's, because any sort of fast food, retail industry,
yeah, this lady sucked.
any of those, yeah, she did suck. Like, she was a jerk. Because all of those jobs are so difficult.
Yeah.
There's so many pieces to doing those type of jobs, and to diminish those people and try to use them as like a derogatory insult is so tone deaf on her half. And people will try to make the argument of saying like, oh, does someone who works at McDonald's, do they deserve a higher minimum wage? And
Absolutely.
it's like, why are we moving the goalpost on people who need to live? Obviously, like, they're working a job. Why are we saying they don't deserve to have a livable wage because they worked this particular job? Someone's got to do it. I mean, if no one was eating freaking Big Macs, they would go out of business, would they not?
I think it should be more than a living wage. I feel like people who work in the food service industry, especially fast food, should get paid more than a regular living wage. They should get paid like a competitive wage, because like it's not like the most ideal job. It can be dirty, you're dealing with grease traps, like that you can get burned. It's an active kitchen. It's busy. You deal with angry customers who harass you all day. Like, you should be getting danger pay for that shit. You know what I mean?
Alice is missing.
Technoclave in the chat said it isn't that fast food people are paid too much. It's that you're paid too little. And like, say that again. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like the lowest tier of people who deserve livable wage are people who are in the fast food industry, then why are we making comparable money?
Yeah.
If that's the case,
Yeah.
should we not be making more status-wise? Or maybe just stop inflating things so much now.
Yeah.
Can we stop? When is inflation going to be like, okay, we're capped? No more inflation for the rest of the year.
Is this something that you'd want to try? And then being
If we could
able
curb
to,
the
like,
inflation,
all my
please,
fun, get so
I'd really
engaged,
appreciate it.
in something that
Yeah, it
really,
would be
I would say,
nice.
worked
It would be
around
really,
my
really
actual
nice.
life
When fast
that
food and
could give me
paramedics
that,
make
like, super
15
fun
an hour, the
experience
paramedics are
without it turning
underpaid.
into something
I
that
mean,
I've spent,
here's the
poured a bunch
thing
of time and
though.
effort into,
If you're a
and then
paramedic,
stopped after,
right,
5 sessions.
I
the
did that for
amount of
13
pay
years.
that
That
they
was
would
wild.
deserve. Yeah.
How
Like
many
I
of
was
our
a
characters
caregiver
have
for
been
3
killed in
years.
kinetic
Okay, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
So you've been in the medical
like,
field too, so you know.
yeah, so
Yeah.
like I was in nursing
never
school
died.
and
Mhm.
No, no,
when I
no,
was in
but more
nursing
of, like,
school, I'm
they,
like,
like,
I've
the
never
community
actually
is like,
done
"Oh,
this.
go
And they
get
were
a
like,
playing
have you ever
book and stuff like
touched
that."
someone
And I'm
else?
like, "I'm
Like
super excited about this
ever?
character,"
Like
and
for a
then we
work
don't play
capacity
anymore.
thing? I'm like,
Oh,
no. And so I took like
Four.
3 caregiving jobs because I was like, well, I want to learn, I want to
really
get out
love
into
that.
the field
I think
and
agree.
do this. And it's
I
like,
am also just like so much
if
more willing to sign up for
I was
something
worth
that I can like
back
agree to
then,
go
I want to
to
say
one
like
time
$8,
or like maybe
$8,
two or
$9
three,
an
as
hour.
opposed to a
But
whole
I ended up
bunch,
finding
especially
out
when
that
I'm
my
starting to feel overwhelmed.
agency would
It
charge
starts to feel like an
$30 an
obligation instead
hour
of a
for
thing that is
me to
fun.
be there. That's what
And
they
I think
charge
it's
the
really
clients.
And
important
how much
So
were
it's
you?
like,
we
and I was
engage in
paid
our hobbies
9.
even when they don't feel fun sometimes.
Wow. Yeah.
But
Well, you see
having
how like that
having
greed and the
Capitalism.
overhead and all of that. Oh yeah,
more than 3
capitalism for
sessions long,
sure. For sure.
and I'm currently overwhelmed with other
Every day I
responsibilities,
relate
I'm gonna
more and more
start
to
resent or dread this, and you don't
uh
need to resent or dread.
wow, I'm having one of those
That's
the
no fun for
sky is
anybody.
blue brain
So
farts.
yeah. Also, Alice
Um
is Missing is phenomenal. It's
like
like
what color is the sky? It's
texting-based,
green.
TTRPG one shot.
Tim Curry. Wow.
I got
I'm an
so,
asshole.
Oh
like, we have, like, a
man,
group
Yeah,
chat
I
so
love
with
Tim
each everybody's
Curry.
names to
Tim
be
Curry
character
from
names. So and the whole
The
time
Wild
Riddler.
Thornberry.
participating through
Yeah,
group
yeah,
chat,
yeah.
and
But also from
got
Riddler. I
so,
relate every day. I relate more and more to
thrilling,
Tim
and I
Curry's
got so
character in Command and Conquer
legitimately,
Riddler. Where I'm
emotionally
going to the
into
only
it
place
that I was
where
texting
capitalism
from,
hasn't
like,
reached
my
yet.
character was like in a closet and
Space!
like hiding from
But
something
eventually it
scary,
will get
and I was,
there,
like,
and it will be
crying. I was, like,
horrible
crying
and
in real life
horrifying.
in my office by myself on my phone, and I'm like, I cannot believe that
Yeah.
like
What they just said was
something
relatable.
that like technically like isn't real is like getting to give me this like wonderful, deep, rich emotional experience.
So speaking of that deep, rich emotional experience, right? And in that space, part of the reason that you were like that was fun for you instead of like incredibly distressing is that you have kind of tools to manage, right? Like when things get really intense in games or when things get kind of uncomfortable in games. How do y'all kind of talk to your
Ooh, that's a
heels? How do you
good
communicate
question
around like,
Mhm.
oh,
that they
felt like you were
asked
joking,
because
all
the
of a sudden
thing is that when
hit too
things
hard.
get really uncomfortable in games,
I mean, that just happened.
it could either be a moment where everyone
I can definitely
like
talk about that.
stops and they
My homegroup,
laugh
we play
about
together all
it,
the time.
or
Everybody has
it's like
ADHD,
you have to take that
autism,
hard
something.
time out. You're
And
like,
we have definitely had to like
Mhm.
we got to
learn
talk
how to have
about
those
this before we go
conversations, and not
forward because
always
I need to
even
know
in the
who I'm
moment,
playing
like
with.
actually in the
Yeah.
it got so overwhelming for one of the
That's why
people.
session zeros
Um,
and safety tools are so
Just
important. And
were
it's like
too
the
checked
X
out that
card
we
conundrum. Do you
tried to
stop the
start having
stream? Do you keep the
conversations
stream
about, like, you know
going? Do you
what? We all
pause?
know each other. We all talk regularly.
Do you,
We don't
because
have to do this right
sometimes
now.
people
We
can say in
change
advance,
the
oh, if
mood,
the
like,
X
let's
card might
like
mean just move
vibe
on.
and just
And then some
like,
people
let's
might,
just make sure we have a
might
nice,
specify
confusing,
something. It's like
wrapping up.
somewhere in the
We'll come back
middle.
and talk about this tomorrow.
And managing that
Everyone
can
has
be
slept
challenging
and
for sure.
eaten and taken care of themselves. So depending, if
Very
that is a group that you, like,
rarely
play with regularly, it doesn't
do I
have to
do
be an
streams
immediate
like
conversation.
doing
It
like
can
a
be something that happens
campaign
later.
without
just trying to
knowing the people
introduce
first. Like what we'll usually do is we'll do
tools for
like
the
a
group to
session
have different ways
0
of signaling, like,
or a session
again,
point
sometimes you're
5
too
at the
overwhelmed
very
to even like
least.
say that you're overwhelmed.
Um,
And so signaling different check-ins.
because
One thing that
I
have
make it
is
a
I
point
have
to at least
little just
discuss
3
and
by
say
5
like,
cards
okay,
that I've
these are our
colored on in
hard
different colors. So
nos.
it's like my green 3 by 5 card, the yellow
Like
one,
these are things
the
that we
red
will
one that you
not
hopefully never have to use because
be
that's like
bringing
stuff
up
I'm
at all in
too
this
much.
campaign.
But sometimes just like I will throw up. I mean, I've just started doing this very recently, but kind of like throw up the green card.
Hi,
Hey,
Ann.
everybody good? And another version of that, like it's based
Hello,
off
Ian.
the X and O cards.
Welcome
just like
in.
everybody talks about the X card, but doesn't
Ilana
talk about
Ann.
that there are other cards.
Sorry, I have the
right?
Boston
Like,
accent. I
X
say
card is if
Ann
you've
weird.
gone too far,
It's like the
but
AE.
N card or that yellow
You do
is
not
meant to
Ilana
say
Ann.
Ann weird.
approaching
Hey,
the
is that Pyramid Head?
down, and the O is meant to be that.
Yes,
Oh,
she
that's
loves
awesome.
Pyramid Head. That's
to make sure
Daddy Pyramid
everybody
Head.
is okay.
I love Daddy
If you
Pyramid Head.
notice
I also
someone's
like Femme
eye is
Pyramid
going
Head with the
kind of
fishnets and high
crazy, you
heels.
notice someone, like, starting
I
to
saw
lean
the
back,
best
or
one
maybe
at
we kinda talked
GalaxyCon
about this
Raleigh
beforehand,
like
like you're
2
playing
years
a
ago,
virtual
and
game
she
someone
was
turns their
she was
camera on
hot.
check
She
on
had
them
like
and make sure
9-inch
they're okay.
heels,
Ooh,
like
okay.
the
Spreading
platform
responsibility
boots,
through the group of we all check in
the
on each other, and we
fishnets,
all make sure
covered in
as best we
blood.
can that everybody is okay.
Oh
Along
man,
with
she was
obviously for
so
yourself,
pretty,
if
and
you're
she was
able and
like
willing to
that
communicate that, to be
very
hey,
like
can we take
long
5? Or like, I
torso,
need a break. I need to get up. I need
tall,
to
kind of
move around.
lanky
I'm currently
build.
squishing a really
But
fun D20
so
squishy
pretty.
toy
I
that
was
my
like, oh my
friend
god.
gave me that can be a really nice
Sexy
like
Pyramid
fun
Head was the
ground-based
best
thing. I love that it's a D&D theme.
decision
Quiet. Doesn't
ever
make any
made
noise, unlike playing with my
on
pet,
the
which I
internet.
do regularly.
For real,
Cookie
for
puppies are
real.
fun,
I would
but
take
cookie
her
puppies are
over
loud.
like a lady
I'm gonna need me one of those.
Demomescu anytime.
As
Like
the
Yeah,
person
yeah.
who has had to
Well,
turn
I
the camera
do
off, right,
like
for
Lady
emotional
Dimitrescu.
dysregulation because it was my
no, I
first
like
time
her
playing virtually
too.
with a group that
But
I
if you
wasn't,
give me
used
like
to
a
playing
sexy
in person
pyramid
with.
head,
Yeah,
And
I
the,
don't know,
was feeling
that's
not just, like,
gonna be
talked
kind of
over,
hard
but,
for
like,
me
could
to.
not
that's fair.
get. I was like awkward edgewise.
I mean,
and
throwback
that I had
to
felt,
yesterday. Throwback to yesterday.
so
That could
much
be
like
a
my
we could do a
character
power
that feels
ranking
like an
with
investigative
murder
little,
mommies. Murder mommy
like
power
12-year-old
ranking.
Sherlock
I
Holmes
would love
girl, which everyone's like,
that.
like Enola
Oh my
Holmes. I'm like, I don't know what
god.
that is. And they're like,
That would be
oh,
rad.
the thing that you made is already a
Murder
thing. I'm like, cool.
mommies.
Yes, murder mommy power
Ooh.
rankings.
But I wanted to like investigate.
So
and,
like, do we get to have like
talk to
one
people
hear
and,
me
like,
out?
learn stuff.
Yeah,
and
they can all be hear me outs, honestly. They did the same thing with
And
Magic the
it just,
Gathering,
like,
so there was
wasn't- I wasn't
overlap with
getting to
Elish
do
Norn
what
and
I set my
Shieldred.
whole
Shieldred was my
character,
number
like,
one
up to do.
for Magic the Gathering murder
And I
mommies.
repeatedly was trying to,
Okay.
ask
Or
for
sorry,
what I needed, which is, like,
Phyrexian,
hey,
sexy
can I at least talk
Phyrexian.
to
So
them before
didn't have to be
we
murder
work with
mommies. It could have been murder zaddies
so we
too,
can
because
get some
Urbras was in
information.
there. Do you play Magic at all?
I was just gonna ask you. So I'll do MTG Arena, but in real life, all I can do, I'm an observer because I get so scared I'm gonna get into it, and then I'm gonna be like, I need to buy card packs, and it's that's just a lot of money, a lot of investment. And I'm like, I get scared. I'm like, what if I get too into it? And I've always kind of been like that, even like with like a game like The Sims. If I had a genuine PC of my own growing up, I don't think I would have ever gotten up. I think I would have been so obsessed,
Yeah.
but I just didn't. So I used to, so I would like stay kind of like adjacent. Like I'll look and observe and learn, but like I don't know. I like MTG Arena, so I'll play that. And I'll do like the color classes.
Yeah.
Like I really like my red and green deck. That's kind of what I've been working on
Okay,
right
a
now.
little gruel stompy. I appreciate that. Yeah, yeah. Is there a theme? Is it werewolves, perchance?
It's not werewolves.
okay.
It should be though. But
By the way, real quick, are you on Blue Sky? I can't remember.
we have like our org on Blue Sky, and I
Okay.
can send you the link. Give me 1 second while I get that for you.
A lot of times we don't even
'Cause
get
I
to
am,
a session 0 in
There's
our
just so
group,
much
and
social
that's
media
really
now.
I'm extremely
Yeah.
fortunate
And it's
because we
like
have a
you
group
kind of have to
which,
pay
we have
attention
built an
to
incredible
at least
level of
2 or
trust
3 that you're like
amongst each
really
other and
like
with
vibing
our
with, and I
community
haven't
is also
found that
important.
vibe for Blue
Right.
Sky
that
as of
we
yet,
all
but we do
care
have
very, very
one.
much about making sure
So this is
everybody is
it,
comfortable and happy.
and I'm sending it to your
And even
DM in
before we get to the like,
Discord.
all right,
Okay.
here's the plan for going into our first session. We build our characters together. Like we will spend a few hours on Discord and we all hop into the Character Mancer with our ideas and figure out what
Guilty.
works.
Okay.
And our DM will like advise us on the way,
My
like,
friends
a
and I
character might
did
work better
a
this way or that
horror
way.
icons
And
photo
we have
shoot.
really
I was
in-depth
Pyramid Head, and we had
conversations about,
Michael
like, what
Myers,
is the
Freddy, and
track that we
Ghostface cooking
want
in
to
the
follow
kitchen
and what
together.
wouldn't.
Oh, that's
Why is that
awesome.
truck
Extraordinarily
cute?
good about,
Kiwana? That's
knowing
adorable. See, I need to do
when
something like that.
is going this direction, and this person mentioned 6 months ago that
They have
might
one
have
of the
an
new
issue
killers
about
in Dead by
playing Fae,
Daylight,
so we're gonna
the
go
one with
around it
the
and not
dog.
directly
She's
past
like
it.
the pirate.
And it's really helpful to us
And I'm
to have
like,
the
oh, it'd be
opportunity
so
to
cool to
build those
cosplay as
backstories of those
her.
characters together as opposed to being siloed off when we're doing it, so that we know kind of
I'm just
what is
finishing up
going
the
to
Blue Sky
with
post here
everybody's
because we
goals
were.
in the game
I
at
was
the
really
same
late
time.
today.
That has been really, really helpful, not just for me learning.
It's okay, we were
mechanics
all
of
late.
D&D, but also for me feeling
I
more
got up so late, and I
comfortable
was like, why am I up so late?
actually interacting and participating in the game. Because we finished the Barbarian campaign, and I'm playing a cleric
Deficit.
now. I'm playing
Hyperactivity.
effectively
Back
an
end.
autistic jackalope cleric who is trying to figure out why he is the way that he is in Candlekeep. And my group helped me
Fade
figure
mid.
out how I wanted to build it, and then another one in our group and I have paired off so that I don't have to talk as much in sessions because I get extremely uncomfortable trying
Okay,
to
she's saying she has a hard time with
I just
role
want to feel
playing.
like my character
I
Role
do
playing to
too.
me,
or I think he would
it's
say
one of
that.
my
I don't
favorite
want to do the
parts.
character. I want
I
to
have
Like,
yeah.
the character.
Go ahead. I wanna hear
Another
your
player in our
stories
group
because
also was
I
like,
have
we can just
some I
pair
also
up
have some
and
thoughts
I'll
and
do
experiences
all
as
the farming next to you
someone with a
and talk,
disability
and we
and a
can
lot
just
of
hang out
accommodations I
and
need. So what was your
medicine
experience with
and
that with role
whatever,
play?
the
This sounds like it might have been a more
that
positive
sounds
one.
perfect. I want that.
I mean, I did a panel with Latinx in gaming, and it was a
Oh hell
one
yeah!
shot.
Okay, yeah. Is that the same? Is that the
And
same org that Zeldin is a part of?
yes,
Okay, yeah.
yes.
I'm
So
like,
we
"Please
so we
don't make me
both are
talk.
part of it because I'm
I am
Afro
more than
Latina.
happy to
Oh,
When
that's
I
awesome! I
met,
didn't know that. Yeah, hell yeah.
yeah. So when I was introduced, I was like,
Quinn, you made
oh my
a
God, they
really
have a
good point
Latin only
earlier
org. Let's
around some of the
go.
things that you did
And they were
about
doing like,
spread out
you
the
know, like an
responsibility
Afro
of safety. And I
Latina
think we all
panel,
know
and
that
I
we
was
don't
like,
have enough
I want to
GMs in
be
the world,
on,
right?
like
Like
I
we
want to
need more of
meet
them
other
because
people in the
Yeah,
space.
yeah.
GM,
And
please
so
do it. Even if you're bad, it will
I
still
did
be
that. That
better
was a
than
great
not having
experience. And then later I was a
GMs.
part of
I
But
want to try, but I'm so
their
scared.
one shot
we'll do a one shot
like
together.
campaign,
I want to DM
and I had
Mhm.
people
never
cuties.
done
I
a
want to run a game
campaign
of Magic
before. And
Arcadius.
so
So,
Giselle, who was the
one of the things
DM,
that
she
can
was
be really
like, don't worry
challenging
about
as
it.
alpha GM
You know, you're
is
just gonna
you
create
are
a
responsible for the
character in your
world, you are
head that you
responsible
would
for setting
really
up the
want
story,
to
but you're also responsible for
portray,
the
and
Yeah.
safety.
everything is going to
Okay.
be
And to
set
some
up. It's going to
extent,
be
that is
super
not going to
easy and
go away
chill.
because you
She
will
was so
have
sweet. She
a
actually
little bit more kind of like power
just
from the
recently
social hierarchy
did
that is
the
table.
narrative
But it is
story
really
design
important to
for
be able
the
to
new
kind of
Life
spread
is
out some of those
Strange that came
responsibilities
out.
when
Oh,
we can.
really?
And so I'd like to
So she
Oh,
was, this
that's
was
freaking
right before she
awesome.
got that
Okay.
job. Yeah.
what are some
So
of the things that you do to kind of
she
accommodate
still, I think,
yourself at the
resides
table or help to
in Puerto
support
Rico.
your
But she
fellow
was
Okay,
like,
okay.
GMs?
you know, just relax, you know, and I was like, okay.
I'm doing it
And
right
I
now.
made
I
this
grabbed a
character that was
sidechain
like
and I put it on top
very
of my first
shy,
chair because
but
I'm very
also
short and I knew that if I only had
very
one chair, my
klutzy,
shoulders were gonna
like
hurt
would
the
Mhm.
whole
ruin
time we were
moments,
playing.
that sort of
So I surrounded
No,
myself
so what system was this?
very
Was this D and
waxy.
D or was this another system?
comfortable, I
It was
think.
D&D.
So I
It
Okay,
was
think
okay, yeah.
D&D. And essentially,
When I one
at
of
the
the
beginning
reasons
of the
why
one
I
shot,
was
we all
interested
die
in being,
in like a
an
fiery death by a
investigative, like
dragon,
detective,
Okay,
is
and
because
we
I
end
had a
up in
reason,
hell, and we have to figure
excuse,
out how to get out
literally
of
type
how to
like
get out
pretty
of
much every
hell.
single thing that happened on my iPad. And have
So
like
think
a
of like
consequence
The
maker.
Good
Yes,
Place
because my
meets
Mhm.
ADHD
D&D.
working memory is
Okay,
great.
okay.
So
The Good Place
And
was great, by the way.
found that
yes, I love
taking,
that show. That is
diligent notes,
literally one of my
especially
favorites.
because the crowds that I
And
play with
so,
end up often being full of people
you
with
know,
ADHD.
I was
And
playing
we,
with
we've got
all
space
of these
because
like
someone was on
women that
vacation
were in
and
the
we had,
industry. They were
3
like
weeks
devs and
and
everything, and
nobody
then you
remembers
have
what
like little
happened.
old
And
me,
so
and
being
I
able
don't
to have
I don't know
a
anything about anything.
person who's able
And
to kind of come
Yesenia
back
like
and
pulled out her
look through my stuff
guitar,
and summarize
and
it
she
for
starts
people so
like
that we
playing
can
her
all
guitar because she's our bard.
remember kind of quickly
And
where we
I don't know, I
actually
think I took a
are,
step
as well as
in
when
the
we run into
campaign,
something
and I like
later on, I'm
smashed
like,
her
wait, we need
guitar
to
like
double
with my
check that. And
body.
oh my god, we have to
Just
remember
like
that this person has been
just
really
She-Hulk that shit.
No, no, no,
so
not
being able to
She-Hulk. It was
accommodate,
like
and
klutzy,
being
like,
resident,
I stepped over you.
Okay,
And
okay.
what's the word I'm
No,
looking for?
embrace it. Embrace it though. You could be like, yeah, that was intentional. It was intentional. I didn't go. I did. There's actually a joke about this in Strange Wilderness. I didn't go. I went. Little differences. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I guess you did. I guess you did.
So, I was just like the resident klutz the
Yeah.
whole time.
Into your group, I will take
But
Sometimes
it
the
was
dice
so
roll that way. Sometimes the dice are mean.
my dice rolls were actually not that bad. I was just like in the side, little outcast. But it all worked out. Like we ended up getting out. I want to say one of my last rolls helped the team get out. So I was like, yes, I was
Okay, okay.
useful.
Was like the ceiling collapsing too or something? Was
Yes,
it?
yes,
Okay, yeah.
yes.
It's not it's not an escape. It's not a proper D&D escape scene unless the ceiling is falling and there's a possibility of rocks falling and everyone dies.
She had created her map for the scenario, so it was like the further in we went, the more things would collapse into each
Yeah.
other, and we would be locked into an area. And we encountered the same dragon again at the end, but we were able to escape through a portal. It was really cool.
And this was a one shot?
pops in.
Yes, it was a
and
one
just,
shot.
Wow, a
like,
dragon and a one-shot is rare. You have to really balance that
again, not
carefully
on
to
one
not kill
person to
everybody
keep all the
immediately.
notes. We do it
Well, that's the
together,
thing.
and,
We
like,
all
it
died
becomes a joint thing.
immediately.
For
Oh,
my
okay,
We
part,
died
so that was the
immediately.
start,
I
not
So
the
like
finale.
no,
my
that
character
not
was
the
a very,
finale.
like,
Like
Okay.
the start
investigative
is
character,
Yeah.
and
we're
someone
in a
handed me the
tavern
board. I
hanging
bought
out. A
a
dragon
board
comes
and
on the
red
roof.
string, and
We
I
leave
made
the
a
tavern.
Okay,
We're like,
okay,
oh my
okay,
god,
I see, I see.
why is this dragon here? And immediately we all KO'd,
Skip murked, yeah.
like trying to take it.
Okay.
And so the technically for the campaign, we were all in the afterlife.
Okay, okay, okay.
And we were just trying to get back to the land of the living. She was so good with crafting this because she was like, I'm not gonna tell you guys what the scenario is. It's just like you're gonna have to go through it, and so it was like a really good experience. And I think when you have a really good communication system with your DM, that's the biggest thing for me that makes those things successful. So I felt comfortable with role playing, you know, admittingly an annoying character. But you know, if I didn't have that support, I don't think I would have been able to do that. So that's
Yeah.
why my experiences, I think, have been better because like I don't have
Your journal entry idea.
hundreds of, you know, games under my belt. There are some people that are like,
Also,
I'll meet and they'll be like, oh yeah, we've been in this campaign for like the last 5 years. I'm like, that's so impressive that you guys have been able to consistently do that for like
Yeah.
X
Yeah.
amount of years. I don't
Sometimes
really have that.
there's drama, things fall apart, people no longer see eye to eye on things, and people's lives change, their affinities change, the things that they're passionate about change, the things that they associate with and stand and defend change, sometimes for the better, sometimes for the worse. So sometimes there's, you know, the unfortunate situation of a table collapsing, and that's happened to us on our channel. There were a lot of different issues, a lot of them mine, but a lot of them stemming from ADHD and not getting accommodations and surrounding myself with neurotypicals, and that same situation of, well, you're just a bad person because you didn't process, you know, this particular request, or, you know, you have too much going on and you have too many games. And admittedly, yes, but that was my hyper focus, you know, doing too many games at once. But even then, it was harder to give the games the attention that some other channels would give their games. You know, there's a lot of comparisons in specifically just doing TTRPGs to some of the other larger channels. Unfortunately, some from me, some from everybody else, and it's pervasive, right? So even if someone says, it's you, no, it's everybody. Everybody has that pervasive sort of baseline knowledge that there's these bigger channels that are funded by SAG-AFTRA actors that have this level of professionalism and this level of engagement that a lot of these channels are never going to hit, because we don't have that perfect storm of, you know, starting with all voice actors. And lightning for Dimension 20, Adventure Zone, and Critical Role, the lightning struck all at the same time, at the right time, in the early 2010s, and it was hard to replicate that. Which is why I'm moving back into like talk format, gaming format, sprinkling in tabletop games where appropriate, but not having that be the bread and butter.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you go into it thinking you're going to be the next Critical Role, you're already setting yourself up for failure. The thing that I will say is that when we did our campaigns, we only did them one at a time, so we never had multiple games running. We used to hard interview the DMs, make sure like, hey, you're not gonna lead our girls off a cliff, are you?
Right.
Finally, like crafting all of that out, it does take time from a production value, from, you know, making sure everyone feels comfortable. And so we've definitely taken like breaks off of doing that just because that work is so extensive. That in its own self is, and we were like early on brought into the fold of the Fantasy Network, which was a part of Zombie Orpheus, which is like a fantasy talent group out in Washington
I love the name.
Yes, super cool people. We're still part of their stream team, even though like the Fantasy Network is more or less defunct, but they came out with a lot of like internet shows like The Gamers and you know,
You might have a
like
character that is
I was
really
gonna say
good. When I
sorcery,
am
but then I'm
playing
like,
for
wait,
fun,
I'm
my
talking
characters
to
are
you,
so
so that's
impulsive.
not the one. But they
Is
came out
it
with different internet
Enchanting Sorcery?
shows.
All the
It's
time.
no, no, no,
I'm
no,
a
no,
very
no.
logistics person.
So
help it.
they
I
came out with like
can't
different
help it.
internet
It is
shows,
impulsive.
and we were going to be like a part of that
It is.
Yeah.
I'm working
catalog.
on it. I'm
And
I'm
one
working
of
on being
the
less helpful.
groups that they got
Um,
cultivated was
and so
Saving
in a lot of my
Throw,
games, one of my very
which
favorite
ended up being like
characters
a pretty
is
big like
a
D&D
Stormwind
collective.
cleric.
Obviously not as
And
big as
when
Critical
they meet
Role,
a new group,
but
they will
as
hand out a
big as you
couple of
could
help
get
potions, and
thinking
we are
of
gonna need these
normal
because I don't know those
people,
guys.
like not voice actors, not people in SAG-AFTRA or
Yeah,
anything
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
She has
And
stabby, stabby
their
lightning daggers,
I learned
and
so
one
much from them.
healing
Their
spell that
production
you
on
better hope
point.
she
They would
remembers
have
spell slots
captions
for.
underneath
I
all
love this
of
with my
the
whole
players,
Yeah, and
so
I think
you
that's
could
the
actually
space in
see
terms
who
of
was
like
talking when they were
we can
talking.
talk
Even
about
if
some
you
of the
roll
logistic piece
back
and the
like the
communication pieces,
VOD,
and
Yeah,
those
man,
are
here.
everything was
like if
so
we
tightly
do think about session 2,
done,
think
and they
about
had music, and I was
Yeah.
like,
concept
oh my god,
checklists,
I want to
think
be
about how to
them.
have those
I
direct
want to do what they're
communication.
doing.
One of the reasons
And
we
we
use
did
TRPGs
a one shot that was
because they
like
create
that, and
a
let me
safe
Yeah.
tell
space
you,
for us
like
to get to
all of
practice social
the
skills, right?
production nuances,
If you are worried about being direct,
and they would
try
do this
maybe
every
building a character
week.
that is a
And I
little
was
bit
like, you
larger.
guys are insane,
Or
but they
getting to
earned
lean
that
into
audience.
some of those
Yeah.
Like they
things that
Yeah.
earned
Yeah.
it.
you might not
And
have much shame
to this
around.
day, I love Saving Throw. I think they
some
were
shame around the
my
impulsivity that
first
comes with
introduction
ADHD.
from like the
I know
production
that in some
side of
ways
like
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
it means
impulsivity
to
and that
do an
forgetfulness
internet
is
campaign
what led me
show.
Yeah,
to
Saving Throw is a
not
pretty big
being
deal.
very
Like
close
they do a
attention. My
lot of like
earlier
pretty good
graph talked
stuff.
about how many classes
Yes, and they were
So
amazing for
that's
like
awesome.
me to
That's really
like and
cool.
talking to them and like
Yeah.
getting to know like their process. Like they were awesome for real.
Lost me friendships. And so
That's
having
really
a
cool that you got
space
to have
get
that experience.
practice
That's
that,
invaluable, and
having a
that's a
space,
kind of
not
like
being less
super
impulsive, but,
prestigious
like,
too, like because they're like a pretty big deal, you know. But
having a space
that's
to
a
get
good
to
idea
practice being
to like
impulsive and having it make
immerse
good
yourself
plays,
and just kind of learn
has
that
been
way.
really helpful
For me as a
in terms
somatic
of
person, that's
a
kind of like
character
what I
navigator.
probably should have done.
I
But
think that you touched on something
what
that
I've talked a lot about
relates to
on our
being
channel
able
how
to
I
explore aspects
I
of
didn't
your
want to
identity
compare
that you might
myself
not get to
or
do
compare
in
the
real life.
players or the table
So
to any of
I
these
am
larger
a
streams,
tragic
but
bisexual who
even
found out
just
after I
compare,
was
even just
married
trying to
to my
use
very
that business
wonderful
model,
husband.
which is what I focused
But like
on,
being,
was
being able to explore different
flawed
aspects
because
of
I don't have
intersectionality
$1
of
million.
like being queer
You know what I
and
mean?
being able to play
Is
as a
to
character
do
who
that
can
level of structure,
like
that level of
roleplay
organizations, you
as
really
female
need
chicks, right?
so much capital.
And
But if
having
you're
other
if you're
people in the
doing it
group where
like you said,
our
on a
characters
smaller
are
scale
like
where no
flirting,
one's
and
SAG
that's
or
not really an aspect of my
SAG-AFTRA
identity
or
that I really get to,
otherwise,
like,
right? Or
bring
you know,
out
not coming in with
real
all kinds of
life.
funding.
But to
There
be able to
are
feel
all
safe
these
to,
tools
like,
that you mentioned
explore the
that can
identity
also be used to
through,
really just fine-tune things. There's a lot of
roleplay,
really
and I'm
really good
curious
quality stuff out there. And I was gonna say here, I feel fancy just having the captions for us in the center of the screen on one, you know, in one area, but having them for each individual name, that's above and beyond.
No, literally their overlays were so
Yeah.
elaborate, and that's where I actually started like learning about captioning through voice meter, because when you think about accessibility, closed captions when you're watching normal TV or movies, like for
Yeah.
me, that's a must. I need to
Yeah.
have it. I
Same.
need to have
Same.
it.
Same.
So in like the streaming realm, a lot of streamers just kind of forego it. And once you learn about it, it's like you don't really need to forego it. Like it is like you can definitely add it. And make it to where like your audience can even have you on in the background, and they can like pop back in and they see the transcripts. And so like I always thought, like from the campaign perspective, that's like the perfect setup. And just the way that they had it, again, like everyone had their own closed caption by their name, so you could see what they were saying, and
Yeah.
underneath each person. And I thought that was so cool.
That's awesome.
It definitely changed my perception on like how to do things like that from like the production end of things.
Yeah. Now there's a lot of ways to fine tune the independent streamer setup, whether it's D&D or what we're doing here. There's a lot of really cool tools out there.
is knowing what
I do my
Yeah,
best, but there's
I-
always room for improvement.
feel compelled to do
I
something about
like
it
trying to
all the time
find
forever,
just
and
different
that's
things that
really,
like would make sense to whatever broadcast I'm doing. That's like, okay, what's more engaging? And then like even with like the role playing, like if I'm doing like a visual novel type of game, I'll do the voices,
Yeah.
you know,
Me too, me
that like
too.
I think will match the character. And I've seen your streams, I've seen you do
Okay,
it too.
Thank you,
But
thank you.
I just like, you know, doing that because it just gives it something a little extra. It's not too much, but it's just something that's like fun and immersive, and people are like, okay, like what are you doing over here? Like what are you
Mhm.
playing? So like I appreciate doing things like that.
If you have some
Yeah.
questions, go ahead and be thinking about those now. The question
Okay.
that I would like
Let's
to kind of
see.
end,
Okay, because I think they're gonna ask some
is
questions of
if
each other
you
now.
could give a piece of advice to GMs about how to make their table more inclusive or accepting or a better
Ooh, good
space
question.
for
Question.
ADHD individuals or people in general.
Yes.
What is that advice that you would give?
Holy shit! Thank you.
Sorry,
Thank
what,
you.
telling
Yeah.
your players of how long the
This-
game's gonna be. I feel like
this-
the accidental, hey, this is a 7-hour game, I will die.
If you
and
know
I
how
don't
long
know
your
if the
game is
game
going
will
to
Yeah.
be,
but
you'll
I'm
be
physically
invested for
making
that
clear
entire
that,
time
Yeah.
period if you know ahead of
playing
time. I
is
think that's
money
why I
for
liked
for
doing
making
one-shots when I
accommodations.
started,
So it's
because
Mhm.
it's like,
to,
okay, our game
have
is going to be
communication,
3
increased
hours.
communication.
Okay,
Yeah.
well,
And
I
think
can
about that a
plan
lot,
to
like
be
the
available and
communication, the
doing things for 3
expectations,
hours, no
right?
problem.
I think
Yeah.
not every game and
But
not
if
every
it's like
group
this game is
and
gonna
not every like
go
system is
on
for every
forever
person,
and ever, and
right? So there's a
that
level of like knowing
exhausts
yourself and knowing
me.
what you are
Just
interested
thinking
in
about
doing,
it,
but
I get
also having really
exhausted.
clear
Yeah. Well, it was
expectations
interesting.
of
I
communication.
can
think that's
GM
where,
for
like,
about 4
sometimes I think
hours
it's the
or
GM,
more,
right? You
but
can
I
be great
can't be a
focusing, like,
player for
oh, it's
more
about
than like
the
3.
players. It's about like creating the
Yeah.
Which
experience
is
for
weird
players
because
as
like
a
my
GM.
my
If you have
tolerance for as a player is a
expectations and
lot
direction,
lower than it
I think
is
most GMs
as
get
a
very worried about,
GM.
like, railroading. At least
Yeah.
I do. I'm like, I never want to railroad my players, but I do have a kind of idea in mind of an overarching story, which is an important thing to have as a GM. And it's okay to communicate that to your players, and it's helpful to communicate that to your players so that they know the expectations right at the get-go. Again, is this going to be combat? Is this going to be investigation? Is it going to be riddles? Is it going to be role play? And making sure that everyone is on that same page through
Yeah.
either just like informal conversations, part of your session 0. There's really specific like the CATS format is like a specific safety tool that's I'm not going to remember now in the moment. Content.
I do the same
you can
thing.
Google it. It's on the internet. That's what the internet's for.
Okay, let's do
I
it. Let's
did
do
too.
it. Let's do it.
And then the other
Cats
point that was in
format.
my brain that I also momentarily forgot about because of the ADHD was, hang on, I'll find it.
We can.
Or you can go.
End
to
world?
it, and I can
Do
come
you
We
back.
can find it later.
Do you want
I
me
can
to
find it
vamp
later.
for a second while you
Concept,
think about
aim,
it?
You can-
tone,
I can
subject
find it
matter.
later.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so I have two. I have
So
two cats.
okay,
have
so
the real
I
world
am
one,
guilty
which
of that.
is,
Honestly, so that's one of the reasons, to my own admittance, why one of our long-running D&D campaigns had fallen apart was, I think, the breaking point where nothing was really the same. There was a lot of back and forth. There was a lot of conflict. There was a lot of criticism, and I couldn't really figure out what the problem was. And the problem was that I had not. And again, with Neurodivergent, I need someone to tell me this, right? No one had. But on the flip side, I didn't know that this was a problem, and I think there were some other folks who were neurospicy at the table, as well as some neurotypical folks, right? But I think the problem was that contrast and that divide in the table with, I had created a story that could be open world. The world is there, they could go anywhere, but there was a story. And I had
And then the other thing
described it as an open world story. And
Okay.
every 3 or 4 sessions about how we are feeling.
what my players really needed me to tell them was that I had written a linear adventure in an open world. And there were so many clashes and so much pushback, to my own admittance, and I take responsibility for that, for not simply just saying this is exactly that. And sometimes it's just as simple as oversharing or over-verbalizing or being redundant, because and saying, you know, or having someone tell you, like in this panel, oh, it's a good idea to say these things, to specify all these details, because they're important, because it helps there to be an understanding. So I think what folks were experiencing in this campaign was, oh, why can't we go here? You know, why can't we do this? It feels like we're being railroaded or forced. And I was like, well, you technically can do whatever you want, but the thing you need to do is here. And there was a lot of pushback. I was like, oh, I thought this was supposed to be open world. I thought we could go here. And I wasn't understanding what the issue was, because there were these assumptions that weren't clarified, and then
that were not discussed. And can we take a step back and discuss railroading really quick? Because I have thoughts.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be like really quick TLDR. I watch a reality show called Big Brother.
Oh yeah.
It's for those who don't know, you basically have about 15 people that go in the summer. They live in a house. The house has cameras everywhere.
Yep.
You're strapped with a microphone, so they know what you're doing
reality TV.
all times of the day. Old school reality TV. I still watch it.
Yeah,
This year they had a dungeon master on. He's still there in the house, actually. I think he's the HOH this week. His name's Keanu. And I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, we're getting to see dungeon master representation on reality TV. That's insane. Like, I was all in on this particular person. Day 2 that he's in the house, and I hate him because he's a railroader.
Yeah.
He sucks. And he's annoying. And he's misogynist, and I'm like, why do we have this representation in 2025? I wanted him to be cool.
Was he running games for the roommates?
He wanted to, like, initially, but then he was like, I came on here and I've been boxed in as like this gym bro, and I'm like, yeah, because you spend most of your time there.
Yeah.
You kind of are. Like, if you're not there, you're in the kitchen eating food. And I'm like, all of those things are fine, but like, you know, you could have been cool. I want to say like the first night we were able to see them on feeds, and he's like talking to people, and one of the only queer people in the house asked him like, oh, well, can I be a troll? And he was like, you can't be a troll. And he was like, well, why not?
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair question.
And he was like,
playable trolls, playable goblins, playable hobgoblins, all the above. You should be able to play every humanoid race in Dungeons and Dragons, every humanoid lineage.
He didn't allow him to do that.
Oh, what a fucking loser.
He wouldn't bend. And finally, Jimmy, who was the gay guy in the house, he was like, I don't want to play Dungeons and Dragons with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
And I was like, yo, he's a railroader, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Like, this is the bad side of D&D. Like, it's the complete opposite of my experience, because like I said, I could talk so positively about my experience with my DMs that I know and everything, and like, I was like, oh my God, this is our representation. This sucks.
But where I went wrong was, because I didn't think it was railroading, but what was happening was I had, and this is my fault. I had advertised. I'm just gonna hold up 13th Age, right? This is like a source book. I had advertised it as like what would be considered to be a source book, but in reality, what I had written, and again, this was like, I genuinely didn't understand this, right, until somebody had to explain it to me, which is ADHD and neurodivergent. But like somebody, like a friend of mine was trying to like figure out why there were so many problems, and the problem was that I had written as a guideline, as Jeff said in the chat, I had written a scripted narrative adventure like Phandelver and Below. So they were expecting to do like the source book, but in reality, what they were doing was a linear adventure. And like it was, I don't know why that didn't process in my mind. It wasn't malicious. Like I wonder if a lot of that was neurodivergence, but like there was so much pushback because, and again, it was if you look at a linear adventure, you can read the whole thing and it like walks you through what happens, right?
Right.
And that's essentially what I had written.
Was having either a like
Okay.
But what I learned was that a true open world, and again, I learned this, that like a true open world is you just write the setting,
knowing that you might not
you
be
give a
in that
hook,
focus, but then like, okay,
and
my
you
character is, like, very
write the
dramatic,
story
you know, like, do my
as you
character's
go
kinda dramatic
along.
hand gesture and like lean in.
Right.
and
With
bring
you
my
have
focus
overarching
back. So that
themes,
might not be,
but
like,
what I had done was I had
focused
written
the
like
entire
I'd
time, but
scripted
bringing it back
out
in the moment in
a
different
linear
ways.
adventure.
I
Okay.
have
But someone
my
had to
5-year-old in my
explain to
brain
me,
so
no,
that
that
I
is
can hear
different
what's going
than
on
a
that I'm
true
actually
open
trying to
world.
do in the real world.
Which I didn't know,
And
but it's
this
a
has
learning
worked well,
process,
but
and
often I
unfortunately,
need
like
something that is
there was that
actually
caused a
requires,
lot
like,
of
some amount of
tension
intention and skill
at the
to do.
Right.
table.
I
But that's a hard
nitpick
lesson that I
the
did
ending a lot of
learn
the time. I
as
don't
far
write
as writing
anything
adventures.
that
But I
I'm never
also
gonna
learned that
use. I
I'm
have
not
lots
that
of
great at running open world adventures because I was like, I don't think I could do that.
all around my house.
I don't think I could run a
And
true
I
open
also
world
paint minis of
because
my
I have
characters.
ADHD, and I don't think I'd be able to
Because it
keep up with
requires
writing
enough
something
attention to
new
detail that
every
the
week.
5-year-old in my brain is like, oh, I'm looking at this paint. I'm
Okay.
gonna paint it.
I
And
feel
then
like,
the rest of my brain is hearing what is going on. in the
again, like
session.
when you're
Those are big
getting
ones. Yeah, that
into
was gonna be my
and see you've
response, is
done
that,
way
like,
more than
if
I have,
you are
which is
able
actually
to,
DM.
do
And
something
DMs
while
are
I'm
responsible
also
with,
still
you know,
listening,
for
I am,
so
like,
many things
Googling
because
a lot of the
the
times, and I'm
story
typically,
hinges
like,
on
Googling
you,
either stuff that is
your
actually, like,
player
happening in
chemistry
the
kind of hinges
story,
on you
or
because
doing
you
other
have to
quests.
set things up to where they would have,
Yes.
I guess you could
Yeah.
say, like those team building exercises. There's so much that's hinging on you as the most important person at that table. So to put all of that on you, and then on top of that, be like, and it's open world.
Yeah.
Congratulations!
Like that's a lot, and I would not, you know, be like, I'm never gonna say that you are never going to get to that point because there may be a time when you're like, I'm ready. I feel like those are muscles you gotta flex.
Yeah.
I feel like the more you flex those muscles is the more you'll be like, okay, I'm feeling more comfortable with allowing my players to just do these things. But you also have to have a good player set too, because like my partner, for example, he's the type that will come across a library,
Okay.
and instead of going with his party, he'll stay there. And so the
Vibe
so
at the
the
library.
DM will
Okay,
be
yeah,
like, yeah, the DM will be like, so don't you want to go off to this tavern with the rest of your
Yeah.
party? He's like, no, I want to learn
Oh no.
the letter Q
All right, over
in
here.
this
Yeah,
language.
I want to vibe at the library.
Yeah, I want to buy. I want to learn about what's going on with the librarian, and so he'll just completely go off the story. And you know, he's like, a lot of times DMs would get like frustrated with him because they want to do certain things, and you have to have the players that are malleable enough to do those things, or else like it just goes left.
Yeah.
And so my whole thing is that when it comes to the fact that you're crafting all of that, that's an amazing undertaking. So I wouldn't sell yourself short as like, oh well, I'm not as great because you can't, you know, I'm not up to the scope of doing open worlds yet. Open worlds are crazy.
Yeah.
Like-
I mean, I think I underappreciated the seriousness of the commitment that it would take. Because I thought, well, I'm gonna write the plot points and the hooks, and like I'm gonna write this linear path, and then that'll be the end of it, and then we'll just adapt to whatever the players do. There's so much more to that. And then Jeff also in the chat was saying that you can add escape hatches into a linear adventure to make it feel more open, which is a great observation as well. And then also writing open worlds, he said have a lot of plots running in the background. See, I found that writing open world is to have a lot of plots running in the background. Okay, so yeah, a lot of background plots, and the players can choose whether or not to engage, which I think that's what I was trying to do, but it ended up turning into a linear adventure.
Which the thing is, if depending on your adventures, right, linear adventures can hit. Because they, you know, they're simple, they're straight to the point. Like you gotta, you know, beat this evil, whatever that evil is.
That I'm good at.
Or
That
or
I'm good
maybe
at.
or maybe it's like the players are evil and they have to beat this overwhelming good, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I think that those stories are so meaningful that even in gaming now, people look at them
how
and they're
to
like,
run
it's
therapeutic games, but there
linear.
is also a
Like,
section
but
in
some of the
there,
best
that talks
stories
about kind of
were
session
linear.
0 and what to
JRPGs
cover.
as a
So that's
genre were built
recommendation.
off of
So we have
these
32
amazing
seconds
linear
left. So for any other
stories.
questions, I'm gonna
So
put those out in the corner.
I wouldn't like,
I'm
I
gonna have
think
y'all
now
look at the slides, and I'm
everyone
gonna ask
just
Quinn in
likes
specific
choice
because
we've gotten
my
used to
computer
those
and having like
branching
later.
trees,
Quinn,
Yeah,
where can
things
people
yeah.
going on in the
You can find
background,
me on
you know,
Blue Sky
randomly
only,
being
which
at an
manages more than
amusement
one
park
social
when
media.
you
Sounds
should
like a
be
nightmare. I
on
am
the
on Blue
trail
Sky
to
at Quinn back in 27.
you know,
I will also
finding a
be around
treasure,
after
but you're just
to happily give people my socials.
off doing
everyone
things.
will be around
In a
for
lot of
after.
ways,
Dani also
that's a
has
lot of
meet and greet from 1 to
ADHD
3
coming
p.m.
through to the
today,
audience,
and I think
right?
it does have
Yeah,
some copies
yep.
of the anti-planner
You
here
know,
as well.
so
Amazing.
I think
If
that
you
like the
like
fact
this
that you are
panel,
like, I can
please tell
craft a
PAX.
linear
Can I see everyone
story
take out their
and it's
phones
straight and
and
it's
at least
tight and
pretend
it's
to take
a great
a
story,
screenshot or like
I think
click
that's
on this
amazing.
QR code? PAX does actually pay attention to this.
All right, welcome PAX West. What's
Oh,
going on,
they
everybody?
got cut off.
Hope everyone's doing great on this happy Monday. My name's Eric. Here at
I'm not sure what's next, but I'm going to just reduce the grounded to. I'm just going to reduce the volume here. But you know what I realized also is that we essentially rather than sort of there were, I think, maybe 2 or 3 times where we like sort of bounced off of the panelists, but we had a really great we ended up, speaking of ADHD, going off on like our own separate co-panel, but we were vibing there. We were cooking. We had some pretty great back and forth. So that
I
was
enjoyed it.
awesome. Yeah, that was awesome.
And
We had
I think
our own
these
sub
type of
panel.
things, this is what I would call transformative content.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
for
yeah,
sure.
you know, we were watching their panel and listening to them for certain cues, but otherwise, like, we had our own things to say, and I think that's beautiful.
No, yeah, for sure. And every sort of challenge that I presented to you, you have a lot of this wisdom that you brought in from your time also being a content creator, which I really appreciate, by the way. Thank you for sharing both with me and with the audience, and being able to discuss those experiences and really like in the best way. Again, bouncing off of what I was saying and really offering some to tie it back into D&D, some sage advice.
Yes,
even though
absolutely.
even though I'm personally trying to move away from the ampersand and do, obviously we've got Cypher System, 13th Age, Vampire the Masquerade. We've done a lot of these other systems as well. Cyberpunk, obviously, we're doing. Have you played any other systems?
So I've been, like I said, I personally, because I have so many things going on, I love the idea of like, we have a one shot, we have a 4-hour play session. Yes, I can commit to doing that. If you want me there on like a weekly, bi-weekly trend, I just have to know like, okay, how many hours per session am I committing? And I feel like every time like I get invited to one, something happens and then it doesn't go through. So if you have like something like that upcoming in the future, I would I love to take a look and, you know, be a part of it. And for me, I'm still a baby, you know, so I'm not like, you know, don't look at me and be like, this is a subject matter expert on it. I'm not. I just like to go in and, you know, be a noob, be a novice, and just learn, you know, put like my strategy brain on and just kind of like learn as I go. I think that's a really fun way to play. So I would love to be a part of anything that you would have going on like in that vein at some point,
Well,
whenever you decide to plan it.
Since you asked and brought it up, we do have a little Cyberpunk Red cooking in the background. So if you're interested in learning how to play Cyberpunk Red and getting involved in doing some more Cyberpunk content, which is really what we're going to be focusing on in the channel as we move away from the ampersand and finish up our 2 long-running D&D campaigns, add one that is from one of our community members and content creators in our community who has a pre-recorded pre-edited D&D game that's going to sort of take the spot of one of the games we already have. Other than that, after we sort of, as we're moving back, we're going to integrate more new and exciting games and systems. There's also, eventually I would love to run this somewhere down the line, but this is a game called Shield Maidens. And Shield Maidens it's like sort of a sort of quasi-tech science fantasy game that sort of
You
incorporates.
just said the magic word. You just said the magic word for me.
Yeah.
Science, fantasy. Like, okay, I call myself a space girly.
I love
Like,
that.
I'll play games like Stellaris
Yep.
and like Iden.
Have you
And
played Star
I
Citizen?
love space. Okay, I haven't gotten into the Star Citizen hole yet. But like I've definitely been introduced. I definitely
Yeah.
know the vibes. But
Someday it will come out.
I love yes, like honestly it honestly may happen, but I love space games
Mhm.
and I love, going in and exploring galaxies. This is actually how we met. Sorcery. I was like, "Oh, nice shepherd." And you were like,
Yeah.
so
It did help that we had awesome mutual friends.
awesome mutual friends
yes.
for sure.
Yep. But
But you were like,
thank you for acknowledging
oh
that, by the way.
you're like the only. You were like, oh, you're the only one who knew Shepherd today.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's crazy, because like I'm looking at you, I'm like, duh.
Yeah, I mean, because so part of me was thinking, have none of y'all played Mass Effect 3 as FemShep? She wears a dress for like a quarter of the whole game. And people were like, oh, I like your casual M7 jacket with your dress as you. And I'm like, no, come on, how do you not put two and two together?
People are so annoying. But anyways,
Yeah.
yes, I love space titles, space stories, and then even like with movies that I like, if there's like a genre of that's like the alien invasion plot.
Yeah.
Love those. Those are some of my favorites to watch. I was even going to do a Stellaris movie playlist.
Okay.
And I haven't like done it yet, but like it's always in my head that I'm like, oh man, I'm watching this film and it reminds me of something I've done, like a situation I've dealt with in Stellaris, and I'm like, okay, I gotta keep this in mind because like I had to talk about this.
So tell me about Stellaris too.
So Stellaris is a game that was made by Paradox.
Mm-hmm.
They're the same developers that did City Skylines, which I enjoy that game because it's basically SimCity but better. But they do a lot of 4X games. And like when it comes to like the 4X genre, it can be overwhelming, but like my boyfriend,
This looks
he
really
loves
cool.
games like Eve Online, and like he loves those type of games, like those top down type of games. And so he introduced me to Stellaris, and the first night I played, we started at like 9 p.m. and he woke up at like 9 a.m. the next day and I'm still on. So I was locked in. But it's essentially a game where like you can create your own empire. And you can even create the other empires that you play with, and you're going through time playing through as a galaxy. You get to do first contact with other races, you get to do diplomacy, you get to do to where like you're taking over other planets that you're discovering, other worlds, growing your empire, and then in the climax there's a final threat that you have to take out, and the game has several final threats. So like some are the like you also have like these like ancient civilizations that they could either ignore you and say like, oh, you're not worth doing anything with, or there's some that's like, oh, you exist, well, we're gonna take you out and you're not gonna see it coming, we're just gonna take you out. And so they've done so many things. They have like weather storms in the game now, they have astral rifts. Like if you're even semi into space things, great game. They've made Mass Effect mods for the game. So you can play with like the Turians, the Asari, the Krogans, and I've done those mods too because like duh, of course. But you can craft your own races, and you can give them, you can make oligarchs, you could make egalitarian race, you could make hive mind, you could, and there's just so much. You can give it different traits, you can make them isolationists, you can make them um very like prone to making like sort of like mathematical discoveries, like whatever you want your
Mm.
race. They typically have like those traits that you can assign, and you can like kind of build up over time. You can do crossbreeding, like which I've
Okay.
done in the past.
By the
It's
way, real
just
quick, I just want to say that like with our screen, Emmy is over here. So if I'm looking here, it's because I'm looking right at Emmy. But it's funny because like on the Twitch, people see me looking off like in the opposite direction. But just know that
yeah.
like it's flipped. But anyway, go ahead.
Yes. So, yeah, guys, like I'm looking here,
Yeah, it's
but then like on Twitch, it's like
it's
there. So like,
confusing.
yeah. But like, I guess my whole thing is that I love, those type of games, like the type of like exploration, um, even and like resource management games.
Mm-hmm.
Love those type of games. So that's like your State of Decay. Um, I'm trying to think, like what other games are in like that resource management genre that like I personally dig. There's so many, but like if I'm thinking of like State of Decay, that's a zombie game,
Mm-hmm.
but your main objective is to make sure you have enough resources so that
Mm.
your camp is able to survive the apocalypse. And
Okay.
like, so I'm into those type of like games and narratives. So if I ever join something and it's like it has those things, it gives me a buzz in my head, and I'm like, okay, I need to lock in on this.
Yeah. No, that's great. And did you ever play Eve Online, or I missed that myself? But
So I've never played Eve
the
Online
history of that
because
game is wild.
there's a lot of lore. That
Yeah,
game is like,
it's too much
you
lore.
know, it's almost too much lore.
Yeah,
And then you actually have to like math quite a bit
yeah. Spreadsheets.
to do
It's
that
the
game.
spreadsheet
And like
game.
I can't do it. I will say I've sat in on like like fleet battles and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
I've seen some of the
Okay,
events,
okay.
and so like I am definitely like familiar with it, but it would be a disservice for me to be like, oh yeah, I've done Eve Online. Eve Online
Yeah,
is it's a community.
yeah,
And it's I don't even know if I would say it's the most friendly community either.
yeah.
That's another story, but I'm just saying in the vein of like I guess like sci-fi. I kind of struggle to say sci-fi because I feel like sci-fi includes so many things that are not like in space. So I always feel bad like saying
Yeah,
that. So I just say, I'm a space girly type of player, but I wouldn't say I'm an Eve Online type of player because it is extensive. And keeping up with all of the spreadsheets and keeping up, I'm glad they got that little, what is it, partnership with Microsoft Excel. I was
yep.
like, oh, that I feel like you guys should have been partnered with them a long time ago. um but other than that, I think that like from the game perspective, um I love like strategy. Like, I think I started off with like Civilization Revolution as like my first. I feel like that's every baby 4Xer's first game.
Yep. That's funny.
you know, um, like to get started out in that genre.
Mm-hmm.
But I go across the board. I'm definitely like one of those variety gamers, and there's some games where I'll never play it on stream.
Mm.
Um
Yeah, I've
and
games a
it's
lot of games like that
because
too.
yeah, where it's like I just want to play it and enjoy it like in the comfort of my own, whatever I'm doing.
Right.
Like
I know
Frostpunk.
the vibes.
I love Frostpunk. I don't know. I tried playing Frostpunk 2 on stream. It didn't feel right. But
yeah.
the original Frostpunk, love that game. I've done every scenario like a nerd several times. I think I've beaten every scenario too.
Frostpunk is a game that looks really cool. I've never personally played it.
Listen, it is one of those games that it's so morbid and it's like doom scrolly in a way, but it's beautiful to look at.
Yeah.
It's
I'm looking at some
terrifying.
screenshots right now. I know it's very, very popular.
Because I'll tell you what, I the campaign scenario, which is a new home, you have to have all of your people survive like this huge storm. And I guess I'm gonna put spoiler alert. I feel like this is dumb because the game is not a new game, but
No, it's fair. It's fair.
It gets down to like negative 236 degrees, and you at that point have to have all of your houses updated, like upgraded, all of your defenses, your medical posts,
Yep.
like your
That's
you know,
very
you have
cold.
to have like RNG, yes, because people are gonna, die.
Yeah.
And like the game like tells you up front, like people are going to die. And you're just like,
you're gonna lose some people along the way.
and there are some people that have done like deathless runs, which I always find super duper impressive. I don't know if I've quite done like a deathless run yet. Like I've had like very low deaths before, but like a complete deathless, I don't think I've had that as of yet. But it's still like, I'm like, wow, like this game is so insane. So basically Frostpunk takes place in a universe in which like instead of the weather eventually getting warmer, it just immediately gets colder. And it's through, I want to say the year is like 1812. And so it's a steampunk type of universe. So like I know that you're into cyberpunk, so like Frostpunk is the the steampunk cold
equivalent.
version
Yeah,
of that.
Okay, that's fair.
That's the equivalent. And so you also have to deal with like the politics of being in the cold and stuff, and like people breaking out into different factions, using religion versus order, in order to like figure out like, are your people going to survive because they believe in God, or are they going to survive because you want them to bend to your will? All of those things are like these grand questions that are kind of like presented to you in your playthrough. And it's always fascinating to like kind of go back and be like, okay, well, this many people died in my playthrough, but this many people survived. So the game kind of like puts you in a way of like saying like, could you have done better? Or
making you
you just
reflect
kind of keep
on the
going
hard
back.
choices you make. That's really interesting. Yeah.
I love it because it's so much that you have to like think about, and I love games that get me to do that. If you can get me to like think about my decisions and get me to be like, wait a second, I could have done something better, or I could have figured, like if you get me to do that, I will be super invested in that game, in that campaign, whatever it is.
Damn, I guess I gotta play Frostpunk now.
You do. It is like literally one of my favorite titles. It's like one of my favorite titles. You definitely should check it out.
Yep.
I always like, I think I talk to people and I always put them onto a game and they're like, what are you playing? And why are you playing it? And what is this?
Yeah.
And like, I'm like, yes, it's literally one of those titles for me that like I love.
Yeah, I didn't know it was anything like that. That's crazy.
Yes, like and they have other scenarios in the game too where it's like, are you gonna be classist? Are you going
Mm.
to
Yeah.
choose your workers, or are you going to use prison workers because the prison workers aren't going to put up a fight? Or are those people going to become cannibals? And are you going to let them become cannibals? And it's going to get so cold. And who are you going to keep warm? You got to keep someone warm, right? Or they're all going to die. That is the
Yeah.
game.
Have you seen Mickey 17, by the way?
Yes, I
Okay.
love Mickey 17. I love it.
It's kind of reminding me of Mickey 17. Thank you for the follow, by the way. Appreciate it.
Mickey 17.
Or
Hey,
you can use clones.
yes. Mickey 17 is such a good movie because I really liked in the middle of it where there was Mickey 17 and Mickey 18.
Yeah.
And the
And they have the
one
conflict.
girl, yes, the one girl was like, okay, you take 17 and I'll keep 18.
Yeah.
And the original girlfriend was like, no, they're both mine because they're both one person.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get to just say, oh, you take one and I take the other. They are both mine. And when you see towards the end of the movie, when she's holding each Mickey as they're about to die, like, she really loved Mickey in all of his forms.
Yeah.
My heart.
This is a really good movie. Underrated. Hello,
it.
welcome in. We're very close to wrapping up. We're kind of going off on a few tangents right now, but
Yes, sorry, I'm
no, you're
fangirling
good.
out.
You're good. I learned so much about Frostpunk, and yes, it is Rogue Labyrinth playing. Good eye, Poppy. That is. So this is the PAX broadcast page. They have a bunch of different demos here, and we've just kind of been floating back and forth between the current live stream, and on Friday we went through about a dozen of these. There's a bunch. There's, what do we got here? Whisper Mountain, Mycopunk, Pizza Bandit, Crimson Desert, Sunderfolk, Corgi's Cozy Hike, Sacred Break Arts 3, Fresh Tracks, Pax Autocratica, which is a very interesting name for a video game title. This is the indie game showcase that they have. So there's a bunch that you can just click on. Control Alt Deal, Roman Sands, Mayday, Savara, Light Odyssey, Chronique des Silencieux, Rabbit Hall, Final Night, Never's End. Yeah, there's about 20 more, but the list goes on. There's a ton of games that they have, pretty much everything that's on the PAX broadcast site. But are you a fan of I forgot the name of the band because I've never played it. Name of the band, the name of the game, Rogue Labyrinth. Are you a fan of Rogue Labyrinth? It looks cool. I had it up because there was another panel that we bled into, so I had this up. I just clicked on the next game, live game demo down, and it happened to be Rogue Labyrinth, but it looks pretty cool. I've been very distracted, speaking of ADHD, by the visuals happening here and by the actual game. It looks like fun. But going back to what we were saying before, yeah, when you were talking about Frostpunk, it made me think of Mickey 17 being on that frozen planet, or being on Hoth or whatever. Any or all of the above.
And it's funny because it still takes place on Earth. It's just an Earth that you don't recognize because it's so cold. But it's also beautiful to look at. It's a beautiful, scary game. And I feel like that's my genre in life. Beautiful and scary.
Yeah. I actually found myself getting really into I don't know, did you play Control?
Yes.
I loved Control. Yes. I realized that was my favorite type of spooky game. Anything that deals with that type of SCP stuff. That's yes. I'm sold 100%. But
and I mean, it's awesome to see that we're in a time frame where games are so diverse now. It's literally been kind of amazing to live in this timeline, and there's just so many games. I have a lot of games backlog, unfortunately, and I always feel such a loser because it's you should get to this game, and
yeah.
I want to, but I'm obsessed with this other thing that I'm doing, and
what a mood.
you know.
For me, it's Final Fantasy 14.
Oh man, see, like
Yeah.
somebody was trying to get me into Final Fantasy 14 like a few years ago, and everything with like the servers and stuff, and I was like, and then I did Throne and Liberty, and I was really enjoying that. I think that like I feel like with some of those games, if you have to go like all in on
Yeah.
those games, I'm never seeing the sun.
Yeah.
I'm literally that type of. I have a
Yeah, same.
hyperfixation to where like there's certain games I literally won't let myself play because I'm like I need to do other things.
Well, that's part of the ADHD diagnostics is hyper focusing on a game, which I do all the time. But that's the
But I can't let myself do that.
the
Like, but
ADHD. Yeah,
it's so scary
it's
because
hard
it's
for
like
me.
I wish that like there's sometimes I could just be like, screw it. Like I'm just gonna
Yeah,
do this thing.
I have no moderation button. It's all like to the extreme with playing
Yes.
games and sinking into games. But if the game has an
And
end, it's better for me because unlike the MMOs where I just kind of keep making new characters and keep getting sucked into the thing. How I eaten today? Yeah, I'm like, damn, I gotta stop playing Final Fantasy 14 because I gotta do something like eat so my stupid body
like
can keep going.
move my body so that
Yeah,
like when I get up, I'm not a hunched over old lady
yeah,
trying and struggling to walk. Like again, like it's definitely a thing where it's like I've definitely gotten lost in my play sessions
yeah,
even to this day.
yeah.
And I'm sure there's somebody out there that would be like, "Oh, that's so immature of you. Like why are you spending so much time on the game?" But it's like I can't I almost can't help it. I think that's why like some games that have like very short rounds. I'll
Mhm.
tell you what, one of the first games that I used to do this with was actually Mass Effect 3, particularly with the multiplayer.
Yeah,
That was the
yep,
first one that had the multiplayer. So
yep.
I think like at that time I was like around 18, 19. So I worked at Kmart, which was across the street from where I lived. So I would go to work, come back home for lunch. I think my like lunch was like 30 minutes to an hour, play a couple rounds of multiplayer, and then walk back to the store. And like continue my shift and then come home and play some more multiplayer. And I don't know, like that always helped me during my work day. And then when I worked at Shutterfly, our break room had an Xbox console.
Oh,
And
that's so
so
rad
I
though. That's
would
really cool.
yeah, like so what I did was I would play this fighting game called Virtua Fighter Final Showdown.
Yep,
I
yeah.
would go play a few rounds during my break and then go back on the phones and work. And like those are the things that would get me through my work day.
Yeah.
And so and it still and it I still do things like that to get through my work day even today. It's just I can't spend that much time on like a game where it's like a Final Fantasy 14 where it's
Yeah.
like you have to be like so extensive with it. And then I think there was the MMO that I had done that with for a while was like Neverwinter.
Oh,
Um
wow. Yeah, yeah.
and and then it got to the point where it was like so repetitive that it's like, yeah,
That's
I'm gonna
really
log
niche.
in and do my dailies and then
Yeah.
get my little keys and then and then at that
The
point it was
loops,
like
the
it's not
gameplay loops.
yeah, the gameplay loops were crazy and I'm like, it's not even that fun anymore.
Yeah. I gotta
I'm
get
like
some
it's
water real
not.
quick because we have a hydrate. I have a glass of water
Yeah, we have
right
a
over
hydrate.
there, and then we gotta wrap up soon. But I also wanna I can't hear anything. What I want to say, I want to talk to Bobby about Genshin Impact because I have a streamer that I watch. Cheers. It's just water, but
Yeah.
Bobby, are you hydrate complete? Bobby, are you familiar with Disguised Toast, the another content creator? And then I have a story about Fortnite too, and then we can do final thoughts and wrap up. But
Ooh, okay.
are you familiar with Disguised Toast, the content
I
creator?
feel like I've heard of he's the one that does the YouTube videos, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm familiar. I'm
The,
familiar. My boyfriend thinks he's kind of a grifter.
okay, okay. So I don't. That very well may be the case. I don't know too much about him other than there were a few videos that I have seen from my friend Severin, who had a channel, Severin RPG. And like Severin has always been cool, so like I don't know. It is a possibility that he might. I don't know what his politics are. I don't know if if he is a grifter, then fuck that guy. But like I don't. So the only thing I have very limited experience with that creator, and one of them was the Wikipedia racing. There was a Genshin Impact stream, and the title of the video on YouTube was YouTuber plays Genshin Impact for the first time and immediately starts wailing. And because he got his first loot crate, and he got like a really cool outfit, and he's like, oh, okay. And then he got a second one, he's like, that's not, I need the other pieces now. How much are the loot crates? And he dropped like, in that one stream, he dropped like $500 or $600 on his credit card on that one stream just on Genshin Impact loot crates, and spent like almost 90 minutes opening loot crates. And then, but as far as, but yeah, I don't know anything else about him other than, and this was from years ago, like, and if he became a grifter, that's unfortunate, and fuck that guy, but I'll have to go and double check. But the thing with Fortnite, which is also cool, my ex-boyfriend, who I'm still friends with, played Genshin Impact, played Fortnite for the first time, and immediately got trapped in the loop. And he was also buying loot crates and everything like that. I would come home and like, I was usually the one that would be guilty of staying up until like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, playing either, this is back in the day, playing either World of Warcraft or Divinity Original Sin 2 was the other one. And he was up at like 7:30 in the morning one day playing Fortnite. And I was like, what's going on? And he goes, fuck these teenagers.
Listen, when you get trapped, especially in the pay-to-play models, you get sucked in. I think that's why, and Poppy, I love you. So don't take anything I'm saying like for gospel, but like I stay away from gotchas for that reason. Not because
like
I don't like the idea. Yeah, Fortnite is definitely the American gotcha.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure he was getting yelled at by 13-year-olds one night, which was hilarious.
It probably was, because the thing is that they suck you in. They have these colorful palettes that, attract kids. But at the same time, it's a shooter. And so, it's a shooter battle royale building concept. They have like the no build version that people love because it's basically just colorful Call of Duty at that point. But it has a gameplay loop that is addictive. And then of course the side of it is addictive. You have like the dancing in the game, the emote, the characters, you get sucked up like, oh, I could be the Red Ranger. Like you get so sucked up in playing the game, and I run away from games like that. Like I literally, I will look at it, I'll be like, yup, and I will run in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Because I can't commit my time to it. I am the type that like, and I don't know if this is a topic I definitely would like to talk about like one day in the future, seeing in the future. But I grew up as a console player. And so when I got my first gaming PC, and I'm like looking at the library that's on itch and on Steam, Humble Bundle, and like, I got overwhelmed because I was like, oh my God, this is too many games. Like, how could I possibly play all of these games? And then like I thought about it and I'm like, well, I want to have experiences that like they'll feel like vanilla. So I never really, do a lot of mods in my games. For me, that determines if I'm really having fun. Like if I have to put so many mods in my games just to make it a modicum of me having fun, it's not a fun game to me. That's gonna be a hot take.
No,
I know that's gonna be a hot take.
I don't think that's as hot of a take as you think, because I agree with you on that one. Like
Okay,
100%.
okay. Like, there's some people that, you know, I'm this is not me bashing the modding community. I think the modding community
Yeah.
is amazing. What they've done with some of the games, like, you know, and I was just telling you about mods and Stellaris. I've definitely done that before. But like, for the most part, if I can't play a game as it was originally intended by the developers and have fun playing that game, I'm not going to invest in being like, oh, let me get this mod, let me get this mod, let me get this mod. Like, I'm not doing all of that because to
Yeah.
me, it doesn't feel as genuine of an experience. There's some games where like the modding community really has taken that game and has made it even more freaking fantastic, and I love that. Including like the legendary edition of Mass Effect, like the fact that they were able to take, I think like right now that game is up to like what, 300 mods, but they all are basically either quality of life improvement mods. They recreated the Arrival DLC, like things like that. I was like, that's amazing. That's what the modding community should be doing. But if I have to literally
Have mods
do
just to enjoy
mods
it.
just to
Yeah.
enjoy it, I no.
Well,
Sorry.
again, I've no need to apologize because I'm right there with you. Like, if it's like at that point, you know, why not just improve the game from the developer side? You know what I mean? So I'm with you
You know, the people
100%.
who are
Some
supposed to
do.
be paid to do the
Yes.
game.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
some
like
do.
why yeah, I absolutely agree, and it's like it shouldn't you know, but the thing is, as a community, I think majority of modders are great.
Yeah.
Again, they're just
You're
looking to
also right there.
improve. Yeah, you know, they're looking to just improve, you know, certain things in the game, and I love that.
The
I
quality of
just
life
don't like
improvements. Yeah.
it. Yes, I just don't like it when it gets to the point where it's like, oh
You
well,
can play it,
everything
but
has to
only
be
if
a
it's
mod.
modded. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Because
no.
and I enjoy consoles, so for me, it doesn't like if it's not playable on a console because of the mods. I think that's a pretty good gauge. Like, so it's like, can you play it on console without the mods? And if the answer is no, it's broken, and no, which I think is a good gauge. But I want to go to you for final thoughts before we wrap up because we're a little bit over time here. So I just want to no, you're good. I want to be respectful of your time too. And I don't really have too much going on, and I really enjoy having this banter with you. This is great. This is great. You'll have to come back on the podcast and we can just do this again because this is a really great conversation that I really want to continue. So, which is also an excuse for me to invite you back on the podcast, in addition to the little cyberpunk game that we talked about before too. So I want to go to you for final thoughts. I know we talked about a lot. I love the Frostpunk tangent. I love the mod tangent. Like, this is great. We're gonna do part 2 on a podcast soon as well. But what are your final thoughts on I don't know if you went to any other PAX West panels, but PAX West 2025, this new virtual free ticket that they're doing, unlike BlizzCon. BlizzCon did exactly this format for years,
Yeah.
but charged full price for a virtual ticket. At the time, I wasn't complaining because I was like, oh, this was cool because we used to cover the BlizzCon virtual ticket. But the fact that PAX West made this free, they made the BlizzCon virtual ticket free, that's freaking awesome. Because this is exactly what the BlizzCon virtual ticket was. The expo hall showcase, the live broadcast, the demos, the sales, everything, the special offers. But you have to pay like $60 for it. The fact that this is free is awesome. And I know we got so excited and we talked over most of the panel, but we got a few questions. So what are your final takeaways on this new free PAX live format, and also on the ADHD panel, attention deficit hyperactivity dragons that we just went over? So final thoughts, closing thoughts. Emmy, take it away.
So the way I feel regarding the ticket package, it really just speaks to the different companies that are putting on this event. So
Yep.
Repop versus Active Blizzard.
Yeah.
And the thing is that Blizzard has been so money focused that they've lost the plot on, you know, hey, what are we going to do for our fans? What are we going to do for our people that want to be here and support us? And yes, money obviously is needed in today's world. You and I both know that.
Yeah.
But the fact that Repop, and at their level, they are, I would say they're a little, they're slightly bigger in one space, but not in another space.
Yeah,
So from the event
makes sense.
standpoint, the fact that Repop is doing this for accessibility reasons and to make it to where it's like, hey, you can't come out to Seattle, no problem. We want you to still be participating. We want you
Yeah.
to still be talking about us. We want you to still interact with us. And I love that. And if there is a thing where it's like, okay, we're going to give it to you right now at no additional charge, and maybe a few years later, maybe we're going to add on some paid packages if you want to see like some
Yep.
exclusive panels or whatever, people would be okay with that because they've already done a package to where it's like, okay, well, we've been giving it to you at no additional charge.
Yep.
And I think Blizzard like kind of needs to move into the direction of being a little bit more community focused. I feel like they were at one point, and they've drastically moved away from that. And I mean, that speaks to what's going on in the industry right now, which is very volatile, kind of scary. The amount of layoffs that have happened, that's a whole other conversation.
Oh yeah.
I love that what they've done
Everywhere.
here. This is amazing to, you know, be a part of PAX West, even though I'm at home. But on the flip, in terms of having this panel at PAX West, this is amazing. It gives me a chance to kind of educate myself a little bit more, because I definitely have neurotypical, neurospicy friends. And even if I have things that are like similar or like I relate to certain things, I don't have all of the education myself.
Right.
And so being able to kind of like listen to professionals, their anecdotes, and like, you know, how you can make a space more inclusive by thinking of certain things that maybe I didn't think of to begin with. The fact that this was at PAX West is great. I love the organization that was presenting the panel as well. So, and the fact that like at the beginning we were not live, but she was pointing out how the room that they were using for this particular panel was very basic and dark and dim. And it's because it's to make sure that whoever is attending doesn't have sensory overload. I thought that that was so thoughtful. And it was still well lit enough to where I could see the faces of the panelists, but you could tell like they had the dark curtain and the light wasn't so harsh, and you know, and like even their microphones, like it was loud, but not like quite so loud that you're like, you know. So I really love that. I feel like that in-person experience is probably great. I feel like the experience of watching it virtually even better because I get to kind of temper my volume. And so I loved it. I really thought that what they were discussing as conversations that we need to be discussing more in the gaming space, because these are your people that are buying your games. These are your people that are investing their time into whatever universes you're creating. And if you don't have an understanding of like what they like and why they like it, then you know you're not going to understand how to craft these games for them. So I loved it.
Me too. I don't think I can top that at all. Anything I say will just be like empty platitudes at that point. But yes, all of that, everything that Emmy just said. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. That was like as neat of a bow as I could possibly hope to put on that. So yeah, thank you.
Of course.
I'm going to just real quick, I'm going to link your links into the Nightbot command, but while I do that, I'm just going to go over some stuff that we've got going on so as to not like block out your screen while you're doing your outro, and also to not have dead air, and then but that you'll also be able to carry us out. So in the meantime, we do usually have a D&D stream on Monday night, and again, I'm just gonna darken your screen here so I can go into our DMs and just grab the links. But tonight we will not be having it because it is also a holiday. A good holiday, Labor Day, right? So we definitely, I don't know, I like unions, more unions. I don't know too much about the intricacies of sort of labor science and as like sort of a social science. But I am fortunate enough to be at a company that has a union that is international, SEIU 509. And I just know how different it is as opposed to being in a job that doesn't have a union. Like, speaking of neurodivergence and tying it back, like that one place I worked for a day job in the medical field that I told you about with that one manager from hell.
Oh yeah.
And I think I have your camera back now. So let me see if this works now.
Okay.
Let me see if it went through. Hey, there we go. Look at that. Okay, so it's all there. So if you want to, and also, by the way, everybody stick around for the raid because we're definitely going to do a raid. So don't go anywhere, please. We want to make sure we send some love to another channel as we wrap up. Yeah, thank you again for tying that up in a neat little bow. For us, Monday, Tuesday, we'll be back tomorrow with Final Fantasy 14. Speaking of Final Fantasy 14, right? And tying it all together. The they just sort of look at MMO gotcha, but we'll be back tomorrow for the Oven Mitt Lesbians, our Final Fantasy 14 stream. It's gay, it's witchy. We have like a meme with that going on, but more importantly, tell us about, now that we've got all your links in the chat properly, tell us about your stuff that you've got going on. Tell us about the Athena Alliance, and tell us all about the cool stuff that you're doing and where folks can tune in to see you and the closest upcoming shows. Take it away.
All right. Thank you so much. Again, I'm dEMonAngeLclone, aka Emmy of the Athena Alliance CLT. It is a women-led gaming organization. We support women, NBs, and our allies. So yes, that does include men. We get asked that a lot. Men are more than welcome to come in. We are not the mascara, but we do community game nights. We just had one last night. We do like different streams to amplify the goddesses in our organization. That's what we call them on our stream team. They're goddesses. And we are all about education, empowerment, and upliftment. So if that is your jam, if that's something you want to learn more about, please come and check us out. We do go live on Twitch. We do have reels and shorts and everything on Instagram and YouTube respectively. We also do game reviews, specifically in the indie game space. So check us out. There's a little bit of something for everyone. And if you're just wanting to come in and just, again, like play games, we always have someone doing something in the server. We do Talk Back Thursdays. So on Thursdays, we just kind of pop in and you can hang out with us and honestly like talk to someone if that's all you really want to do. It's every Thursday. There's no like specific time for it. You could just pop into a voice channel and someone will be with you and we just have a good time. We have people of all different walks of life that are part of the organization. So I think it's beautiful to see, and we're always learning about other people, and we're always educating can. Upcoming, September is September. And at PAX West this weekend, we had 2 of our goddesses there representing us, raising money for the organization. So if you do want to donate still with PAX West, we will have some dono links in like the Discord server and stuff if you want to do that. But otherwise, we just have a great time. We do programs like Adopt an Introvert. So if you feel like you're a more introverted person and you want an extrovert to adopt you and take you under their wing and play games, we have that program. We have the Alliance Showcase, where it's like if you want to learn more about streaming and doing the things that Eryn and I do and doing all of this, we have that so that we can give you step-by-step coaching. We'll let you stream on our channel so that you don't feel like a goober on your channel. And then we'll give you, feedback after, letting you know, like, what you can improve on, how we can help you. So we do things like that. Finally, we have the Ellie Lynn Fund. One of our goddesses on the stream team passed away last year. And so to honor her memory, we have a fund where we try to raise money for it on a quarterly or like, I would say annual basis. And we use that money to give people care packages in their time, the same way we did with her when she was. So if those are things that you like or think would be cool to kind of like look into, come check us out. We're a pretty fun group. And you know, love each other. I think you're still muted.
I am. Thank you. All the links are right there. All the links are right there in the chat. Go and follow the links. Check out some of these charities. Go in and join the Discord and participate. And also for any of your community members that were here in the chat that might have popped over to other streams or may have left, anyone that was in the chat today is qualified to enter the raffle that we're doing to win any one of the games featured right here on the PAX broadcast over in the PAX West sale. Right, so anyone in, all they have to do is join our Discord and have been in the chat. So I don't want anyone there to miss out. It's free stuff. There's no commitment or needed to follow up in the server with anything. I think the only entry requirement we have is to just write up a little intro, which is a safety thing, but it can be as short as and concise as any of your community members want. Just like, hey, I'm so and so. This, whatever they want to add about themselves. I think we have a prompt they can follow about like what game are you playing, what's your favorite game currently, or what's your favorite movie, whatever. It's like a free space, right? And that's really the only requirement. Otherwise, any of your community members that have been in the chat today can just lurk. If they want to participate in the raffle, it uses a D100 rolling system for Avray, which is the D&D bot on Discord, and it was the most important thing was just kind of showing up to support you and I in the chat. I don't want anyone to miss out. The only other requirement was just to be in the Discord because that's where we do the rolls. But we are giving away any game under $30 on the PAX West sale, as well as same thing, any TTRPG, $30 or less in the +1 EXP. Some really good friends of ours, content creators, indie TTRPG content creators in the indie scene. They do also a thing called the indie zine club, and it's sort of, you get a monthly RPG zine in the mail as part of this sort of subscription thing that they do. They're really cool people. Tony Pepperoni is the CEO. He's really cool. He had his pepperoni button-up shirt on at PAX East when I saw him last. Just some really cool people, and there's a chance to win one of those things too. So the Discord is in the chat. It's also Queer and Witchy, and Emmy's there as well. And also I want to do more stuff in your server, so definitely ping me. Please feel free to just be like, hey, we're doing this, come join us. And so long as we're not already doing something there, I'll be there. So let me know what's going on. I try to always chat and respond to your daily pings as well. There's a lot of daily engagement in the Athena Alliance server as well. So definitely also, if you're from our side, go and join that server and follow all the socials right now. Go and do it. Go and join the Athena Alliance. There's really cool stuff. Yes, yeah, no, totally. And Seren also, there's again the charity streams, the engagement streams, the mentorship programs, like Emmy said. So definitely go and check them out. It's a really cool community, and I think your Discord is probably somewhere on your. I would probably say this, the best bet is to find the link on the Twitch. Your Twitch channel?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So like we have you could go on our Twitch and find pretty much all of our social links there. And we try to like cross link everything to each other. So if you find us on one platform, you'll find us on the other platform.
Yeah.
But we definitely try to like keep engagement up and make sure that everyone feels safe and welcome. And I always tell people it's not just women only. There's only guys that we that come through. And last summer we did a men's panel during Men's Mental Health Month.
Yep. That's a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, so like the thing is we try to do things like that all the time. So, if anything is your jam, sometimes people just want to come in and play games, and we'll do that too. And we're
Yeah.
goofballs. Our last charity stream was last week, representing RGB Land in Philadelphia to help Landfest have their land there. So if you ever caught me on that stream, I'm a goober. I just say wild things,
Relatable.
and people have to respond to that. They have to be faced with it. So
Relatable and respectable.
if you're into that vibe,
Yeah.
that's me. If you're into more like you know like timid, cozy, low energy vibe, we have Pixel. We have so many different people on our stream team. Mama Pobby is a part of our stream team, and she's so much fun. She'll play Fortnite and Genshin Impact and like the chaos of all of it. So we have different goddesses for whatever vibe you like.
Love to see it. Love to see it. So yeah, that's I think all we have, and thank you again for putting the last little cherry on top of our streaming Sunday. I've got ice cream on the brain. My partner has been we've been out twice in a row now to try and squeeze in the last little bit of ice cream for summer. So that's the analogy at the on the tip of my tongue. But let's go ahead and just right over to the next channel. We've got a few folks that we follow from some of our partner servers here, Transmission Gaming, as well as a ton of other servers. Obviously, I need to go in and follow a ton of people from your server as well. Is anybody from your server currently streaming?
I was going.
Anybody in your community?
He's not in my server, but he's actually playing Stellaris right now. Actually, which is like Alpha Yang Delete. Let me see. Let me actually double check if he is though, because
Okay.
sometimes how like it'll say someone's playing a game and they're doing something else. So let me actually double check this.
It does look like Stellaris.
Yeah,
Okay.
it says Stellaris, but it's like it looks like his stream is black, or am I just stuck in ads?
I think maybe
stuck in
just ads. So that's where I'm gonna go. So stick around for
Okay.
the raid. We'll try a couple of times if we can't get all 4 people, and see if we can get all 4, because there should be. Yeah, there we go. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, he is.
We've had a lot of peaks, but for podcast and chat banter, like it goes from like what I think the most important thing is, because it's a long form content, what ReadPop wants to see and what other analytics people want to see is how many people have popped in and out of the live stream for the long form, because this sort of long form chat it has better analytics on YouTube. But for all 3 days that we've streamed, the numbers have been very high. They've been between 12 and 20. And I think we've already hit that today. But what that is like between 12 and 20 people show up, listen to a little blurb, and then we'll be like, okay, I gotta go do something else, right? Because it's very it's something that you have on in the background. Podcast format, talk show format, it's a lot of like background stuff. But the important thing is getting those people in to follow, pop in, say hi, and that type of engagement has been high. But folks watching the live stream consistently is it's hard to keep people in, but people showing up and then chatting, engaging, and then doing whatever else in their routine is just as important. As far as just nerding out on analytics and engagement. But that's all we got for y'all. We'll see y'all over there at Alpha Yang Delete's channel. Have a wonderful rest of your PAX West, everybody. We love you. We'll see you soon. Bye, everybody. Bye.